Hey there, listener. Fancy seeing you here. Look, sometimes due to the things we discuss on the pod, it might contain potentially triggering content. But the good news is you can always review the episode description for a full list of the warnings applicable to this episode. Oh, and just so you know, this episode is rated R for really filthy. It includes adult themes and explicit content, so if you're an adult, buckle up, gird your loins, and prepare to flood the basement, because we are going down with these ships. Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome back to Care of Magical Shippers. It is a Harry Potter ship culture podcast. I remain Nathan.
And I am Megs. And we cannot believe it. After all this time, however many years, when did we start? When did we start this? Was it 2021? 2022?
Well, I feel like our first meetings for it were in 2021, and then we began recording in 2022. But it feels like we've been working on this simultaneously for about 5 minutes, and also for about 50 years. So
yes, exactly.
I don't know what's going on with time. Who even knows anymore?
So we're at our 50th episode, which totally blows my mind. But this is crazy. I'm so excited that we've made it this far. It still blows my mind. I mean, I know we joke about like, oh, we're going to keep doing this till we're 80 or whatever, but it's like hitting this milestone is just, it's so cool. Like that is, you open whatever podcast app and you just see like scroll, like 50 episodes. That's crazy.
I know.
That's so amazing.
I know, but it's a reflection of, let's be real, all of the hard work and effort that you have put into this podcast. I do nothing. I turn up and I look fluffy and I have a voice that people seem to like. And this is the extent of my effort on the project. Everything else that you see, everything else that happens is a reflection of your hard work. So I want to take this opportunity to thank you, because without you, we wouldn't have 5 episodes, let alone 50. And getting to share this space with you is the best thing. I had a cool idea for a format for our anniversary. I never normally have ideas. And then you were like, it's our anniversary episode coming up. Do you have anything? I was like, actually, I might have something. So I'm slightly nervous, but also like slightly excited and feeling weird about what we're gonna do. Do you want to talk about it?
And I'm pre-cringing, like my cheeks are already tight and hurt and things like that. Like, who knows? We may go through this and it actually be like, wow, we actually were great from the get-go. I don't know if we mentioned this yet, probably not. But
you'll see it in the episode title.
What we're doing for this episode is we are going back in time. We
both did that. How in sync are we? We did that at exactly the same time. We hadn't planned that.
Yeah, we planned it. Yeah,
the vibe is already there. We're already sharing a wavelength. We don't need to do anything else. We could just do this for an hour.
So we're going back and we're going to listen to our very first episode. And we're going to see, we're just going to see how, so we're doing commentary on ourselves to ultimately be like, everything from what the hell were we thinking to, oh my gosh, I forgot that I thought that and I am so ingenious 2 years ago, me. Like, I'm just like...
Well, let's wait and reserve judgment, because I feel like what I'm going to hear is a lot of, for me,
It's so funny because you say that and it's like literally like I can hear that that's exactly how you say it. Like that's literally how you say it.
Mm-hmm. I was very he is just a poor boy from a poor family. And it was it was a moment in time. I'm not going to judge myself, but I also, do you know what? Growth has happened on the podcast since then. And this is so funny to me to be saying these words because, you know, we did just take an impromptu 6-month unscheduled hiatus. So
I think 2 of them or more. I don't know.
Who
We
knows
do this
when you're getting
when
this?
we can.
Welcome to the year 2036 when you're listening to our latest episode.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
I mean, hey, how fun would that be? Literally down the road and be like kind of our own, like a future anniversary episode just years later, and just be like, hey, we're just gonna come back randomly and see who the hell is still subscribed to this thing.
Exactly. Yes. No, I mean, we laugh now, but I see it happening. It is something that
Yeah.
we would do. It's very much in our wheelhouse to be like,
Oh my
I feel like
gosh.
doing this. Let's just come back and reunite. But this is our, what now? Our 2nd anniversary? Does that make sense?
Well, we did we've done 2 anniversaries, and this will be our. Wait.
Wait.
Hold
what?
on. So what is it? May. So coming up in May, which who knows when this is going to be released. Is it going to be our 50th, and then maybe this will be released on our 3rd anniversary?
Oh,
We know what we're doing, guys.
we put so much forethought and planning into this. Like, we don't have lives outside of this podcast. We don't have everyday worries and concerns and jobs.
I know.
And,
I think that it's in May, because March was when I think we dropped.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The trailer.
yes,
And then we
you're right.
finally May or something. So it's not outside the realm of disbelief, being that we are recording on March 31st, that this could be released as an anniversary episode in May or whenever the hell our anniversary
This had better
actually
be
is.
good. We had better do a really good job of making this episode good, because I know that we've teased this in the past on the main feed, I think, but we did a bonus episode, or we tried to do a bonus episode where I was experiencing some adverse effects from painkillers, and here's a little tip, just a little bit of life information for you, just in case you need a little portable life lesson. I know what it's like. You're listening to a podcast, you're washing the dishes, you're doing your thing, but sometimes you're like, I need a little nugget of wisdom. My nugget of wisdom is, don't sit down to record a podcast episode when you are off your head on really strong painkillers, because the result does not make any sense. We literally sat there for an hour talking absolute nonsense. It ended up being like...
I mean, literally, when we were done, I don't even know how we ended it, because we're terrible at ending anything. But we literally were like, okay, what the hell was that? And probably no one ever is going to experience this thing, like, ever, ever, ever.
Right, because when I talk about it, I'm like, we were talking about like what would you be in the wizarding world? Where would you go in Diagon Alley and all this stuff? And
Right.
it started off like reasonably sensibly, like with a thin veneer of sensibility about the whole thing.
Exactly,
But then
yeah.
it ended up being Wizards in Space, which even as I'm talking about it, like it sounds like it made much more sense than it actually did. Like, I just don't make the mistake I did. Just don't
And
do
I'm
that thing.
I'm pretty sure the time that we recorded that was like our bonus episode that we did after also Painkillers Nathan decided it'd be a great idea to do Voldemort / Gilderoy Lockhart. That was our
that
ship
my
episode.
idea? Was that...
Yeah.
Wait, I came up with that? I don't even remember.
I wouldn't have come up with it. So
So it must have been me by process of elimination.
Granted, you were on painkillers, so you may not even recall that it
Nope.
happened. Like,
That-
even when I asked you for the file, you were like, we did what?
I mean, I vaguely remember doing an episode, but I don't remember. Maybe we should just go back and put an extra little disclaimer at the front of that.
It's a question mark on whether we've released that before this or not, because I still have a few episodes to edit and release before we actually reach the 50th episode.
Yeah, because we have a few in the bank. We have a few in the vaults that are like sitting and needing like me to sound edit and then you to choppy, and then they can go out
choppy.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you do your little sashimi thing with the I don't know what you do. You get your little audio-visual machete and you're just like, yes, this needs to go here, and you go to the front, and let's get rid of Nathan's 50 millionth ramble here, and the little random intake of breath and a slap at the desk, and suddenly we're getting mouth noises. Anyway, I have rambled at the top of this episode now for about 11 minutes.
I know, we've already been here 12 minutes, so it's like, or whatever length of time.
This
after we trim whatever.
Yeah, this
quality
is going
stuff.
to be what it is.
Yes. So, are we ready to experience ourselves back in whatever 2022? I guess.
Let's press the magic time machine button.
I know. Hopefully, I've lined this up. Okay. So we're probably gonna listen to the intro, which is fun because listening to it while actually recording is kind of fun versus adding it after everything. So
can I sing along to the intro, or is there going to be lag, and will it seem really weird if I do that?
That's where my machete comes in, so possibly it would be fine.
Okay, but to you it's going to sound really weird if I do it. Maybe I should just, like, for the patrons, dance along, like do my little head bob thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll do
whatever,
that.
Whatever you like. All right. I don't know. We're not ready. We don't know if you're ready. So
you're not.
But we're doing
ready.
This.
Let's be real.
Here we go.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, we're dancing.
Let's start a shipping war. Don't care if I get hate. Don't like my pairings. Well, then you can hit the bricks. This is my OTP. I'll go down with this ship. I don't care.
Hi, I'm Megs.
And I'm Nathan.
And welcome to Care of Magical Shippers, your Harry Potter ship culture podcast. So Nathan and I met actually through another podcast, Fanatical Fix and Where to Find Them.
True.
We're both patrons for them on Patreon, so we get access to their Discord.
Still.
So that started our exposure to tons of different people and their ships and everything that we had no idea existed because we were either stuck in what we knew and what we loved. So learning about what other people are obsessed with really got us excited about diving further into what the fanfic culture is all about.
Correct. So I was a filthy JKR only text purist for ages.
Oh, here we go with the purist
fan fiction because I was like, no, this is destroying the universe. The integrity of it must remain like pristine. Nothing will touch it. And then JKR did her transphobic things, and I was like, okay, maybe these words aren't as sacrosanct as I once thought that they should be. So then a friend of mine who was really into fanfic introduced me to the Sacrifices arc, and I read that, and I loved that so much that I then found Fanatical Fix, and I was like, do you know what? Fan fiction is for me because it really broadens the horizons for the world, and I'm like, I want to play in that world. I want to know what happens when you combine Oliver Wood and Marcus Flint.
Ooh.
Do you know what I also want to do? Pause for breath.
Okay, yeah, I love that we started off with Flintwood reference because, I mean, I know that was one of the fics, obviously, that you had done a podfic for before we even started, was I wrote a Flintwood.
Yeah, you did.
But it's like, I love that
did.
long ago. Like, that was, I mean, it's still one of my favorite ships, and oh my gosh, I love that so much.
But I love that whenever we started, it was just like, okay, I'm Megs and I'm going to introduce my past. And then it was like, and I'm Nathan and I'm going to do my thing. And there was like no conversation between us. It was just, it's so business-like. We're just getting straight into it. Whereas like now, I feel like the podcast is secondary to us just catching up with each other.
Right. Yeah, we're like playing verbal ping pong, really. Like,
Yeah.
so this will be, and if I recall, so I don't think I've listened to this episode since I like edited the thing. So I don't know if I can't remember there's a couple of them that I've gone back and been like, oh, I'm going to listen to this because I don't remember, or whatever. But because I knew we were going to do this, I didn't want to remember, like pull off of remembering. But what I do remember, I think, is it continues this way where it's like I go into this long explanation of all these things and then you go into your thing or whatever. So, but thus far, I'm just like, I'm smiling from ear to ear because it's just so fun to like recount our origin story and why we're doing what we're doing and we're still doing it is just so, it's just so awesome.
It is so cool. I think what I've already picked up on is there's a lot of editing already happened, particularly with my bits, where it's like, okay, clearly I was not being as cogent as I thought I was capable of being. And
I know, I'm literally like, oh, that was a cut.
So,
and to be fair, I started off super like meticulous editing. Like I got rid of all the ums and the, like the unnecessary breaks and silence and stuff. And as we go further on, I'm like, unless it's like dramatically, whatever. So
it's just going to be what it is. Yeah.
Exactly. It's funny because I
progressed.
say, like, on one hand, we sound super professional in the beginning, and then I sort of get lazy, but also the content gets better because, so it's like, it's just.
Well,
sort
we've
of
been
back
doing
and
it
forth.
longer, so we know what to. It's like I always knew I was good at having conversations, but it's different when you're in front of a mic, and suddenly every mouth noise and every and every r becomes really important. Because you don't think about that before. Oh, excuse me. See, there's a random cough. Now, let's leave that in. This is all part of me being a human being.
I'm sniffling. It's like,
I'm
we're
going to
getting
cough
into
away
spring.
from my microphone. Hold on. There we go. Right.
Yes.
Random, very professional cough out the way. It's all of that stuff that you don't factor in. And so what I'm really worried about is that I'm going to be very professorial. I'm hoping against hope that what I say makes some sense. And if it does, then I'll be so happy. Let's want to let's dive back in.
Let's go back. Yeah, otherwise we will literally be here 3 hours. All right, here we go.
I mean, right off the bat, I'm going with Flintwood, one of my new favourites that I recently discovered, funnily enough, through a fic of yours.
Yes, yeah, that's right. I can't even remember how I came across Flintwood. It probably was either on Discord or
still
in
don't.
like a rare pair server or something like that. And I realized, oh my gosh, this is Drarry on steroids. I mean, you have the 2 Quidditch captains who are rivals and are constantly in each other's faces, and then it's just all that conflict and sexual energy, and you just know that they're meant to be together. And so then I made a thing, and you read it, and then then we're best friends. That's ultimately what happened. It's just you read my fic, and then we became best friends.
The banging together vigorously of Quidditch muscles really galvanised our friendship, and turned us into the caring magical shippers that we know and love today.
Oh my
But
gosh.
we're both obsessed with the audiobooks, and so a lot of our input from the characters canonically would have come from that. But I feel like because you're hearing so many different character accents and voices, you kind of want to live in their headspace naturally when you listen, and so fanfic is an extension of that, and that's partly why I love fanfic so much, because it literally, you're not just living in Harry's world all the time. You're not not just seeing things from his perspective. You can literally be seeing an event like the Yule Ball that you've read 100 times before, but see it through completely different characters' eyes, and suddenly events get totally turned on their heads.
The number of times you've said turned on their heads.
I didn't even notice.
Yes, you say that all the time. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I just had
Turned
to.
on its head. Okay.
It's just one of those Nathanisms that it's like, oh, it totally, whatever, flips it upside down, but turns it on its head. And I just think that's so funny.
Do you know, I
Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that, like, this isn't as nearly as waffly as I thought it was going to be, but I think that's down to your editing, because I feel like that went on for much longer. That was a much longer, wafflier section. Like, I'm remembering a lot more naffness.
Well, there's still, 40 minutes left of potential waffling.
Well, do you know, if we waffle, at least 20 minutes of that is you, so that's off me. So I am ready for whatever this is going to be. Sorry for interrupting past you. Let's continue.
So the reason I love reading and writing fanfic so much is kind of like what was discussed. We see the characters from a certain point of view in the books, but it gives us the opportunity to build characterizations and really get to know the characters based on what they say and do within the books. However, there's so much going on that there are stories that weren't told. So we have certain characters that had like a single line, or we know very little about, like Luna Lovegood or Severus Snape, or even the Marauders, for example, which we only experience through either Remus or Sirius or Snape's memory. So we have to kind of build who these characters are, and it gives us a platform to do that and be entirely creative. So we are taking something pre-existing, which is beautiful and wonderful, and we are just like throwing glitter and just like ribbons and all these fancy things to just make it 10 times better.
What?
Glitter and ribbons. That's what a fanfiction is.
This is making it sound like everything is just fluffy and happy and like beautiful.
And then we did Bella Mining, and that whole universe just collapsed.
Hermione. Oh my gosh. And then I did the what was it? Then we did the Snacko episode with the
Oh no. I think that was just filth.
Oh, and then my Harry Mort with Byron. That, oh my gosh, that was really something else. So there's just
Is that one even in the main feed yet? Is that
it? Hopefully it is. I mean, it's planned to be prior to this.
Right, it'll be in the feed.
It'll
through
be
the
there,
magic of time.
Yeah, if you don't know, you will know. But so yeah, that's just it's really funny.
There's hundreds of thousands of us doing this, and there's just so many, too many, that we can't even begin to scratch the surface. And that goes for individual ships themselves. So like I fell down the Drarry hole, and then I fell into the Snarry hole.
Yeah,
and with this podcast, I'm so excited to broaden my horizons to all these things that I might have gone.
The Snarry hole.
But that is us in the past, but now we are less mature than our past selves.
Yeah, I mean, no, to be clear, I was always this immature. I was just masking. Like, early on, it was like, I didn't know how professional I had to be. And this was my first, it was my first foray into podcasting. So I was just like, no, because I'm assuming that this is going to be something that people that I don't know also listen to. So I didn't know how initially, colourful I could be. And now I just don't care. Mm-hmm. Now it's like, yes, my co-workers can listen to my episodes. Will they see me the same on, the following Monday? No. But do I care? Not especially.
No. No,
What?
not really.
Why? And then realize, oh my gosh, I ship this so hard, and I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, so for example, recently you wrote a Harry/Bill, and at the start of it I was like, so what is this? Like, why would I be invested in this? This sounds so cursed. And then by the time I reached the end of this tumultuous emotional roller coaster, I was like, not only am I invested in this is now my headcanon. I'm like, of course Fleur leaves. Like, of course she does. She knows she's not happy and she's unfulfilled. And now we get that entire backstory fleshed out in a way that's not just, a few throwaway lines at the end of a page somewhere.
And that's what's so fun is like I've been open to different fests that give you kind of a prompt or a ship that I'm like, I don't know, what the hell, let's do it, let's see what happens. And then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I know how to make this amazing, I'm going to do this, and then it ends up amazing. Sorry, I know I'm just like talking about how amazing I am, but seriously, it just ends up so
Megs,
fun.
Like, fluff your own butt more, please. I know how to make this amazing.
Big Slytherin energy.
I mean, it's true, but also...
I mean, categorically it is amazing, but also,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, some degree of chill may have been, on balance, may have been required also.
Big Slytherin energy.
Just
Literally just... I did
yes,
the
you
same
are.
thing. Oh my god. I'm like... Woo. Oh, that's so funny.
That I can take something that I'm like, how the hell would that even happen? And I'm like, well, I'm going to tell you how the hell it happens.
Yeah, and that happens so much. Like, one of the reasons I'm so invested in fanfic is it gives me an excuse to do podfics, so reading fanfic aloud. And through that, I encountered another fic which involves Snape being a terrible sex shop owner, which is fantastic. It is fantastic because it puts Snape in a position that I would never have envisaged, yet it feels true to his character. And I feel like this is why Harry Potter fanfiction works so well. Because you're starting with characters that you know and love and that you can relate to, but it's putting them in all of these new situations. Bringing it back to the overarching narrative again. It's like, let me explain the position of the world and your place within it, dear listener, as you enjoy fanfiction. Here is why it's possible.
You were the one that wanted to travel the world as an academic.
I did.
Well, you can do so regarding Harry Potter.
I did, and I do, clearly. I just... Yes. Younger me really, really wanted to ham up the professorial vibe thing. Just like, Jesus, man, chill. Okay, continue. So that you can really flesh out their emotional wealth as well as their, already pre-established backstories and stuff. And so, it might not be canon that Snape owns a sex shop. But the problems of, coming up against 8th year Harry, who is still oblivious and, having to live off of Neville's coattails, that is absolutely possible. And I see that being, a possible AU reality for Harry. So that, fanfic allows me to get invested like that. And that's why I'm so madly in love with it. So we thought, why not make a podcast of our, exuberant enjoyment of the genre?
Exuberant enjoyment
The
of the genre.
genre.
Also true.
Well, look, it was true. It was a little bit of a prissy way to put that, but it works.
I mean, in multiple episodes, I'll say, I'm like, hey, Nathan uses words that sometimes I have to go back and Google after the episode happens.
These days I'd probably just say we have fun talking about fan fiction. But I mean, sure. I mean, am I getting less prissy or am I getting dumber? Like, one of two things is happening.
Yeah, has this done us a disservice? Or is this, are we becoming better people because of this, or are we regressing?
I feel like our conversations are at least more fun to listen to now, where it feels less like, okay, no, I'm going to read off my bit of the script, and then you read off your bit of the script, you know.
Yeah, I mean, because people will say again and again, they don't care what we talk about. They just love us, like, talking to each other and hanging out together and clearly having fun. So it's like, you know, this one is definitely very much it was brand new. I mean, we knew each other, but not like a super long time or to the depth that we know each other now, obviously. Yes. So it's like, I'd say it's pretty dang good for being like first podcast. It doesn't feel awkward. It feels like I'm really proud of us to see where we started. Massively. But then it's also like, I love how we've grown past it. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally. But I think it's gotten to the point now where, as our friendship's grown, we're just so much more comfortable with each other that I don't need to use phrases like our overzealous, exuberant enjoyment of the genre and the milieu. But, you know, I'm still possessed of that vernacular. But I don't feel the need to waft it around like incense on my podcast. I'm just like, please be seated. You are about to be treated to a lexical series of enjoyments presented to you by Nathan and Mel. Because we love this so much that we were like, do you know what? Why not make a pod that really delves into what makes ships great? And I can't think of anyone I'd rather be doing this with than you, Megs.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
Still
Same
true.
to you. Oh my goodness.
So one of my all-time favourite ships is Wolfstar. I didn't even know it was called Wolfstar until recently, but I've always sort of thought that Lupin and Sirius were canon anyway because of the chemistry that they'd had in book 3 and in the film.
Oh, and the films, 100%.
Yeah, and even in the film, it's even more in your face, literally. I mean, that hug in the Shrieking Shack, it's right there. Yeah. And so your takeaway is not immediately that Remus is going to go off and settle down with Tonks, you know? Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons I really love Wolfstar is I feel like they emotionally complement each other so well. So Sirius is this emotionally stunted man-child who is essentially still a marauder at heart. You know, he just hasn't grown into being an adult because of Azkaban.
Right, 13 years of no contact socially. I mean, essentially he's jumping from 20 to 33 or whatever it is. I mean, goodness, that's a lot of growth that he didn't have. I mean,
Nathan, we were talking more about Wolfstar in our first episode in the span of 10 minutes than we did in 2 episodes of Wolfstar.
Look, I'm still proud of those episodes. I just think they're mistitled.
Yes, they're great.
They're fantastic episodes. They just at no point dealt with the title subject. See, when you love something enough, you're almost scared of how all-encompassing your love for it is. And so, rather than deal with it head-on, I decided to sort of flirt with it at the fringes for 2 episodes.
I know. Why do you think that I haven't done, actually jumped into... I mean, it took us forever to do Drary, and then we had 3 episodes.
That's the ship, though. That's like
exactly.
The one that...
And then with Snary, I haven't touched yet, even though that has been one that I've loved forever. But I know I want to do it. You know, we have to have Danny be on as well,
right? And it's going to have to be like a 6-part miniseries to do that.
I'm like, literally, that has to be its own podcast, like.
Yeah, the spin-off, the Care of Magical Snary shippers.
Yes. Okay, Danny, if you're listening, there we go. We're going to have our own side podcast. That's actually really funny. That would be really fun.
So it's a lot of physical growth that isn't mirrored emotionally. And in that way, I sort of feel like Remus is the inverse, where Remus is very emotionally mature, but he's not in control of his body. He is, at the mercy of the elements once a month and being like, I transform into this dark creature that is essentially, it has put his friendship at risk. It's put other people's lives at risk for years. And he's had to keep this part of himself very close to his chest. And so Sirius is really one of the only people that he's been able to share this with because of all the, Animega stuff. And I sort of feel that sets up a nice vulnerability. So Remus might be more emotionally level-headed, but have this incredible other side to his personality, which I think Sirius can bring out safely. So they match up well off one another. And that, to my mind, makes them absolutely perfect for fanfic, because where fanfic can take this and run with it is literally you can be running as, Animagus form and wolf form together in the woods. I'm sorry. You could be running in the woods, running up that hill, running up that forbidden forest. Baby. What was I on?
I don't know. I mean, we sound so legit though. Like, it's literally, but it is very much, like you said, like, it feels very informative. Like, it's very informative.
We started off with
also
an intention. Yeah, every episode was going to be educational because we were both at this point. I feel like it's fair to say we had discussed our love of smut as well, because I'd done the Flintwood fix, so we knew also that was a huge part of our interest. But we don't touch smut for at least another 4 episodes.
I know, at least. And we even make like the spicy intro warning people about it. And then we're just like, like we could have been in public just talking about this just in general. And it's we're so, but hey, it's same thing. It's like we had our comfort with each other, but then you have that like unknown other, like all of everybody else who's listening to this thing that is just like, oh my gosh, it's kind of terrifying. And then we got used to it, and we are here now. We're here.
And then you can take that into very tender emotional moments. You can have silly slapstick moments. We get to have all of this story that we wouldn't otherwise have. And it's one of the reasons I love that pairing so much, is you get to see their human vulnerability.
Absolutely. And what I love about that ship is when Sirius is in any ship, normally it means he lives. So we get more Sirius, which is fantastic.
I'm like, I have to have a reason to love Wolfstar, because even now, Wolfstar to me is pretty boring. Okay. Unless I'm making a side ship.
Controversial, but all right, sure.
I know. I'm not saying you have to find it boring by any means. Tons of people love Wolfstar, and it's like, to me, it's kind of like, because it's like a canon ship to me.
Right.
Like, it feels like it fits in canon, so unfortunately, it falls into the realm of the Hinny, the Hermione, the, all of that stuff that it's like, oh yeah, Wolfstar, duh. But at least when we have talked about it, like, I can, plenty of the ships that even we don't ship, the fact that we're able to talk about it and understand it and get into it is just really funny. But I just have to laugh at myself, like,
because no one wants to read a Wolfstar of, Order of the Phoenix happenings and then all of a sudden a tragic end to a love story. I mean, some people do, to be fair. I'm not here to say what people like or don't like. I just know what I love about when people take that route. But then we have
what is it? All the Young Dudes. But I didn't even know what All the Young Dudes was, which, I mean, people will consider, it's fan fiction, obviously, but people call it kind of like the Lost Marauders, like, prequel story, which is canon compliant. So in the end, obviously, people don't survive. So it's like, people obviously still love the tragedy of it. And hell, when I had, Tessa and Tam on for the, I don't know why I'm thinking Mary and Lily. That's what I mean. The Dorleen. I don't know where I went there. But the Dorleen is like, the reason they loved all these characters in Marauders fandom is because they die. And I just think that's so interesting.
Yeah.
They love the tragedy of it.
Yeah, I mean, angst is something that we haven't really talked about on the podcast at length at all in our 50 episodes. And I think it's because, like, people... I don't feel qualified to talk about the reasons why people find angst powerful. I get that it's a useful tool in processing emotion, and it can be really useful for a writer going through something to be like, this is going to be my fan fiction vessel, and through this, anybody that likes this and reads it is going to not only get me, but understand something about themselves, a little bit better. And so it's a connector in that way that all great works like that are. But I also, if something is really grief laden, sometimes it can feel like you're intruding on someone's private grief as well. And then it's like, do I have the right to talk about why that feels powerful? I could talk about why it feels powerful to me, but that's not the be all and end all of that. Whereas if something is like ABO or very, very smutty, like, we can all agree on why those principles work. Yes? Like,
Exactly.
if it was a fairy story, there are going to be points that you hit where we can all go, yes, if you're into fairies, this is why you will like this fic.
Yes. Exactly.
You know?
With Sirius, it's just to get to see a character who's just so, even having been through Azkaban, he's so lighthearted, he's compassionate, he's caring, he's just so fun to be around. I mean, he's a genuine friend and a great kind of older brother, sort of guardian, not really to Harry. And then you have Lupin, who really grounds him. He's like kind of like the business guy to be like, okay, you had your fun, but let's reel it back a little bit. And then on the other side of things, Sirius helps Lupin open up. Because as you said, he's really reserved. He doesn't want to open up to people. He's scared of what people think of him because we don't really see him until book 3. He's got tattered clothing. I mean, where was he living? Who could he rely on? Probably like no one. So to have Sirius back in his life and realize he wasn't the person to betray his friends and just have that reconnection and potentially rekindle some like hidden secret love from Marauders era is just absolutely fantastic. So it's so beautiful. Plus, you can get into some of the Wolfstar stuff when they're kind of quote unquote pseudo parents for Harry, and he gets that co-parent type of situation of like, you have the super fun parent and then the other one who's like, okay, you got to do your homework and make your bed and clean your room.
The stern uncle and the fun one. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So I definitely feel really good about that. You brought up the Animagus thing.
We're just sitting here laughing at our own episode. Like,
I know. I feel so bad for the listeners because a lot of it is us just making faces at each other.
I know. So if you're not a
or like I'm
Patreon-
nodding along, like agreeing with myself, like, yeah, that's
Still a
I still
salient
think
point,
that.
Megs, even 2.5
Yes,
years
exactly.
later. Oh,
Yes.
you were on it then, you're on it now. No, but I just love whenever you were talking about Lupin as like the character to bring Sirius back down to earth. And all I was thinking is like, I'm Remus Lupin. I'm a businesswoman in town on business. I just love this characterization of him being the mediating force for Sirius, and that's so funny to me. It's just like, now Sirius, now stop being so silly. Immediately do the business. Be an adult. Make the money.
serious. Be serious.
Yeah, exactly. Be serious.
And I would imagine that probably their Patronus, I don't know, I'd have to look up, probably in some fandom website, whether they know who, like what their Patronuses are. But since Tonks had the wolf Patronus to match supposedly Lupin, I'd imagine his Patronus is a wolf. So that makes canon with matching Sirius as a wolf. So there you go. Mic drop.
Oh,
Mic drop. Yep. I mean, yes, correct.
Okay, we've already hit upon my star turn of phrase for these early episodes, which is in this exact intonation. Absolutely. I am.
Absolutely.
So I said to Megs before we started recording, I was like, I'm dreading this in a way because what I'm expecting to hear is a lot of, for me, which I did a lot, right? but also, for some reason, I say absolutely an inordinate amount of times. So if you're having a little game to yourself, like a little bingo game to yourself while you listen to this, count the number of absolutely's in an episode, because I bet you it's obnoxious.
I mean, that'll take some extra bonus time of mine, but maybe I can make some sort of weird game card thing for this episode to be like, see if you can find, this statement or this, thing or whatever. So no promises, listeners, by any means. We have lots of great ideas that never happen, don't happen.
Yeah.
So
I don't think anyone's ever actually sent us fan art, have they? Did they?
Juliana did the pregnancy horse.
Yes,
Severus.
Yes, Juliana did. No, that's fair. Thank you, Juliana. We love you.
Yes. I mean, still the best. If we're gonna get one, yes, thank you. I love Seahorse Severus.
Are we just gonna get fan art now of me reacting to me, going absolutely shuddering in the background, just being like,
oh my goodness. That's so funny.
I never even thought of that until you just brought it up. But that has added a whole other level of intrigue to that ship that I now need to read that story of their Patronuses, and even because Patronuses can change, right, depending on levels of emotional fluctuation and stuff. So I wonder, were they always like that?
Right.
Someone needs to write me that fic and send that to me.
Once again, we're asking the listeners to write us a fic. Every episode there's at least one.
But one day when we're famous, someone's going to go back and we'll years from now we'll be getting someone going, I wrote you this fic that you asked for in 2022, and and on that day, I'm going to be as grateful as I would have been getting it the week later. There's no time limit on this stuff. If you are listening in 2047 and you think, do you know what? If there's some way of getting in touch with probably a very much older Nathan and a somewhat older Megs, then, I'm sure that exists. We may be able to to communicate telepathically by then. Who knows? You'll find some way to beam the information into our heads, and I'm going to stop rambling.
Probably me. Let's be real. I don't know.
I
No, I didn't.
not be writing. Even though I have 2 ongoing chapter fics, I have to write at least a one-shot every day and ignore those 100% completely. So, but no, what I was gonna say is, when you say oh, did it change? From the beginning, Sirius was churned into a wolf. So essentially a big black dog, essentially a wolf. So from the get-go, he had those characteristics to match Lupin. So it could have shifted via Patronus, that can change, but who you become as an animagus, it's permanent. It's who you are. So it's also a thing. I am all about that symbolic stuff, especially because I'm a big Snarry fan, and a huge part of Snarry is the Patronus focus.
I knew that was coming. I was like, when is Snarry gonna make its debut? Here we go.
I bet you I'm gonna have a squick here. I feel like young me will have a
we'll have a moment that's just I can't. Here we go.
Because what we get into is, okay, at the end of the book / movie, Snape's Patronus is a doe, potentially for Lily. However, J.K. Rowling has brought this up in the past, that Lily is a doe. However, her soulmate, James, is a stag, which Harry has. So, Snape doesn't have a doe Patronus for Lily. He has a doe Patronus for Harry.
Which is hilarious, because I am now, more so than a Snarry shipper, a Snames shipper.
Oh.
I am Snape Sass. James is 100% my OTP right now. Snarry and Drarry are there, but I love Severus and James. So, of course, now I come back with a new conversation of, well, James also had a stag. And then, so it's actually, Severus wasn't
Harry
in love
was
with
just
Lily.
lazy.
It was all about James.
Harry was just copying his father, who
Yes.
Snape was really in love with. So,
Yes.
and then Harry, of course, being the center of his own universe, was like, oh, it's all about me. I am
Yes.
everything. Like, we characterize Draco as being very dramatic in this world, but Harry is just all about the ego. He's just like, and he hides it behind Hedwig and having some fluffy friends. But no, it's like, literally, the wizarding world has been saved by me so many times. I'm going to just try and move slightly so that I cannot be blinded by this shaft of sunlight that is like attempting to assault my face. So much better. Oh.
Nice. Yeah, I just think it's so funny because at this time when I was starting to read Snarry, I was very much like angry at the Marauders because of their bullying of Severus back in Marauders era. And I, especially James, like when I was writing like a long fic Snarry way back in 2022 or whatever, I made James so bad, like psychopath. Like he was so bad because it showed how much I disliked him as a character. And then it's amazing that now I've read a couple fics that like obviously redeem him within the Snames dynamic of like him realizing that, you know, he shouldn't treat him that way, actually getting to know him, because Lily's like, if you want to be with me, you need to understand and actually get along with my best friend, which of course is like, you know, he wants nothing to do with, but then as he gets to know him, then he can, you know, that's it. So I'm like, I get it. Like, I get it. I get James now, and I love this ship because now this is, again, like a really intense, like rivals, but also toxic because of how things were prior to. Like, it's hard to imagine them coming together. So I think the like real conflict and adversity of them actually getting to that point is what I love about it. Like, so that's where I'm at now.
We've gone on a journey, but I think crucially, what's key in all of this, listener, is that Megs still holds Snape on the sort of fanfic pedestal of like unassailable beauty. Like Snape is is the dad god archetype figure at the top of the fanfiction pyramid, and every other good idea Megs has sprouts from there. So now I may have some differing thoughts. I don't nearly have like I see coming into this. I liked Snape a lot less, and that I feel like knowing you has helped me mellow or understand things from a different point of view a little bit. But Snape is still a problematic character. But that's okay because you write problematic very well. And listener, if you haven't had the pleasure, do go and check out Megs' back catalogue, Green Megs No Ham, on AO3.
Yeah, I was, someone actually recently reached out and I did an interview talking about how fandom has changed since, you know, everything happened with JK, like how that might have changed involvement in fandom and stuff like that. And when I mentioned that I like really joined like 2019, 2020, like she was just blown away. She's like, how do you have like 100 plus works? And I was like, well, I didn't sleep much and like like for a long period of time that I just wrote. But recently I've definitely slowed down a lot. I've taken, you know, like a step back from that and needed some, you know, personal time to just do other stuff.
Yeah.
But I still love writing and I still love being able to get stuff out there. But looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I did so much and I still love all of that. But now I still have ideas, but I can't keep up with them because I'm not writing like I used to.
Do you know, I'm pretty sure that somewhere Megs has an ideas journal just full of things that eventually you're going to flick through and come back to and be like, oh yes, I now need to make this incredible thing. The world is ready. So I wouldn't put it past you. I am very interested to hear what, if anything, I have to say in response to this snarry love fest that's happening right now in our actual episode.
This will be fun.
So ultimately, he has been growing up with his resentment for not only Harry from the beginning, because one, he's the child of his quote unquote thought love of his life, probably more of like an obsession, a best friend lost, because you can have a deep love like ours that is platonic and not, not go to the, the romantic side of things. But he sees Lily in him, but also his childhood bully. So Harry looks like James. So it's like that conflicting, usually like it gets into like a soulmate thing because of the Patronuses. So Snape is always in denial. He's just like, no, not only one, age difference, because of course like, oh, student, teacher, yah, blah, blah. So he has to like fight back on that. But the Patronus is there as proof once he discovers that Harry is a stag and whatnot. Is just, why else would Snape be a doe other than because it's the soul, connection to Harry?
Because it's
So-
James.
I love that you're just disagreeing with yourself through time.
I know. I'm like, but I get it because that is completely the Snarry platform, and I subscribe to it. Like, I definitely still 100% follow that. I just love that I can twist it and back it up and make it about James. So
Right.
that's why I'm a crazy multi-shipper. Like, I can ship all these different things. Like, we've talked before about how different characters can kind of react and behave in a way that's different depending on who they're shipped with.
Yes.
Like, not necessarily making them out of character, but it's like a different version of themselves because of them interacting with someone else.
Well, look at
So,
Lockhart, for
but-
example. We've done enough
Yeah.
Lockhart episodes to be like,
I cannot believe, yes, I was making a list of like all the characters we've done, and I was like, how have we done that many Lockhart episodes?
well, because I just feel like when someone is 5 times winner of Witch Weekly's Most Charming Smile Award, we can't not talk about them. They're in the world established as this figure that everyone fancies. Also,
Very true.
I don't know, listeners, if you're going to be able to pick up on this, but my feed of Megs right now is frozen mid, like, nose blow.
Oh no!
It keeps saying my internet connection is unstable. Are you still hearing me all right?
Yeah, I can see everything's normal on my end.
Okay. I don't have my VPN on or anything, so we should be good. Should we keep going?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's my biggest thing. So I'm all about Patronuses. So that was easy for me to dive into because I was like, wait a minute, Patronuses, Wolfstar, what would they be? But also Animagus. So it just
So one thing that I wanted to bring up about Snarry is that I'm really new to this ship because it's not something that I had ever really looked into. Some ships are sort of thrust upon you and some you search for. And I feel like Snarry, for me, it was one that you search for because I had never really seen the two of them together. But then...
Is this sounding right?
Yeah, it's totally consistent with where my mind was at the time. I don't agree
Yeah.
anymore, but I'll wait till I get to the end of my point before I have thoughts. But yes,
Thoughts.
it's where I was, so I can't hate myself for it. I was being genuine
Exactly.
with the listeners at the time, but
It's true.
my stance has evolved. I feel like your love for this ship has been infectious.
Yes.
And it's made me want to find out more about why they work and potentially why they don't as well. But like because there's so much potential for conflict and angst and drama,
Oh,
I feel like
yes.
it can build well to something that is emotionally believable. Like I'm all about the emotion. I'm all about the fraught tension, the emotion, the resolution of like years of built up potentially angst and trauma, but other stuff as well. And
UST.
That's a lot.
In case you don't know what that means, unresolved sexual tension. So yeah, there's all of that in the background too, on top of the trauma, the angst, all of that.
I imagine it best in scenarios where Harry's aged up or Snape is aged down. But of course, there is the sort of the it's possible to take the uncle imagery from Harry and Remus and Sirius and apply it to Snape as well in a weird sort of distorted mirrory way, in that he wouldn't necessarily look for affection from Snape because, let's face it, he's not the most cuddly bear on the planet. But I do think there's something to be said for, with Snape, still waters running deep. You know, he is that character of, you know, his heart has literally bled dry for someone. And for years we've been thinking it's Lily, but it might not be now.
Absolutely. And he's just been going through life waiting for, you know, his someone, not realizing that, you know, it would come later, thinking he lost Lily and all of that. But, and I just, aside from Snary, I mean, I just see Snape as such a compelling character. I mean, as far as canon goes, oh my gosh, he is the worst. I hate him.
Yeah.
I mean, you get finished with those books or you reach a point and people are like, oh, he loved Lily. No, he was creepily obsessed with her.
Yeah.
And he was so like mean and like borderline abusive to students, regardless of like his childhood traumas and things like that. However, when it comes to fan fiction, I build off that. So I tone down how quote unquote abusive he is, because it doesn't have to be canon. There's no rule. Like I don't have to make him as mean as he is, but he is mean.
That
like,
is
he
still
has
true.
That
I mean, that is still true. I am not, like, canon Snape is absolutely, like, beyond, you know, like, awful and evil. Like, I know when it comes to kind of, like, children's stories or, like, youth fiction, like, you know, villains are written in a way that's kind of taking them to the extreme.
Right,
and
yes,
of course,
it's
coming
pantomime.
back with an adult mindset of being like, wow, this is extremely problematic, all these things. But to a kid reading this series, we're just like, wow, that's a mean teacher, you know? Like, we're not seeing all the stuff that's actually really not okay, like in, you know, real life context, or like, why wasn't he held accountable for these behaviors? But really, it was just making a really extreme, unlikable character.
Yeah, that's almost a caricature. And it would take...
Yeah.
The irony is, it would take a really strong character actor to play a character like that and do it convincingly, which is also why I think people warm to Snape so much, because Alan Rickman does that so well. He is able to play that sort of overblown pantomime villain character so well. He's not just done it with Snape, he's done it with other characters. I'm thinking of, is it Hans Gruber in Die Hard? With the German fella who is just, it's that same sort of concept. It's absolute pantomime villain, but he does it well because he leans into it. And I feel like this is why people actually start to like Snape, because what they see happening is the actor playing with the character. You know, like, just consider a line like, and what would three young Gryffindors such as yourselves be doing inside on a day like this? Like, there are any number of ways that you could have delivered that line as any kind of actor. But as Alan Rickman, you know, it's all very... And what would three young Gryffindors such as yourselves be doing inside on a day like this? And
I know the way he delivers it, like when I think of the books, and even just how because I know you were listened to the Stephen Fry and then I listened to the Jim Dale.
Yeah.
The Jim Dale ones, like, he's definitely very like, what are you? You know, he's like, he makes them very unlikable and very like snippy and like, I don't know, very snake-like, really. I mean, it's just, very different.
Yeah. And so it just goes to show you that, like, the best actors can really provoke sympathy in a character that, as it's presented on the page, and this is what you're getting at with the canon stuff, as Snape is presented on the page, he's the worst. But then when it came to the films, Alan Rickman gave him a humanity, kind of like an infusion of himself in a way that the character would have been without. And I think then that's partly why the character of Snape does so well in fan fiction. It's like the Draco thing. It's like, if Draco hadn't been Tom Felton, that character could have fallen flat. But it's the way he delivers, like, red hair and a hand-me-down robe. You must be a Weasley. There's such fun in the way those lines are delivered. Like, or reading. I didn't know you could read. Like, it's so good.
Which is so great because that was an ad-libbed moment.
was.
He didn't remember his lines and he just like,
Yeah.
he just let that come out. And I just still love that so much. He just was like, oh, I forgot my lines. What can I say?
Yeah.
Reading. Oh, I didn't know you could read.
So, but I think this feeds into a broad discussion that we have on the podcast generally, which is why a character that's traditionally portrayed as nasty can be likable or more elastic or malleable, or you can play about with them in the universe, right?
Right.
And like nowhere is that more apparent than Snape, with the exception of a character like Malfoy. But I want to let you get back to explaining why Snape is the best thing since sliced bread, because listening to your enthusiasm is just like I get sucked into it. So I'm excited to see where you go with it.
Here we go.
Because that is his character. That's who he is. But he is a product of his childhood and experiences. Abusive father, bullied, potentially his entire school career. I mean, from the get-go, those Marauders singled him out and was like, he's the weird, awkward kid. We don't like him, and we're gonna fuck his life up. Essentially all of 7 years. So that really does a lot to a person.
Yeah, and a lot of it just seems to be based on the fact that he's in Slytherin and he has these looks that aren't, he's not conventionally aesthetically attractive. He has this sallow skin and he's constantly described as greasy.
Yep.
I mean, he must just have this constant film of sweat. Like, it's...
No, he is
and
you don't, I mean, of course, my headcanon is like, oh yes, Adam Driver is Snape. Like, of course. Like, it's like, now, I mean, it's like, okay, Snape knows how to shower and take care of himself and that sort of thing, but in the books you're just like put off completely. You're just like, who would like this person?
But it's like in the books you only ever get that one note where it's like ultimate Snape, where he's really abusive to these kids. And I mean, it's just because of that you don't really get a lot of modality or in a Snape monologue to play around with, because it's just this one level. But it's like Snape, fan fiction Snape is different from book Snape.
Oh my gosh, that reminds me. I remember that meme that you made for me. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Where it was like every hero has a weakness, and it was like Achilles and the Achilles heel and whatever, and then it was like Megs, and then it was Adam Driver as Severus Snape.
Yeah.
So good.
And like Draco is another good example. Yeah, because, I mean, all of those tragic villains are what I'm drawn to as far as reading and writing. I want to make the bad guy a human. Like, I want you to empathize with them and realize, oh my gosh, this person has a heart, and I want them to be happy, and just kind of really convince you to believe in and love something that you otherwise would have been completely put off by. And I just love that so much.
So I have a question, though. Why don't we do that with Umbridge?
I guess I could. No, that's fair. That's fair. Because she obviously has to have some sort of backstory to, hey, now I'm going to get into it. So, because this is what my brain does. So, I see her as a woman who had to fight her way up to the top.
And I still do. I love that. I just love the complexities of the baddies because, like I always say, it doesn't excuse their behavior, but it's understanding why that is their behavior based off of past traumas and things like that, and finding ways for them to get past that, to find love and, a shipping standpoint. And I love it. I love it so much.
I think that's actually one of the reasons we got on so well and why this podcast format works for us is because we both have a real interest in human psychology. And one of the ways we get to ask these really difficult questions is through characters that are complicated and flawed and morally problematic. And we like stories as a way to play out or war game kind of scenarios against each other, and some of them can be silly and some of them can be really serious, but the concepts are the same, and the deep questions are the same. This sort of psychological aspect of it really was fascinating to me from day one, but is still even more now, just as gripping for me.
Like, she could have started
Yeah.
as she's undersecretary to the minister. She probably was just some random somebody that maybe could have been an assistant in whatever department, doing very little, no work whatsoever. Maybe she was looked down upon because of her looks. She's obviously described as toad-like, short, not attractive whatsoever. And unfortunately, in society, we often judge based on our physical appearance.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine what her life was like as a child through school. What if she went through the bullying things? What if she went through a bunch of stuff that really tormented and changed her and her character? And so over time, as she kind of, maybe she's a little bit narcissistic and manipulative, and so that's how she made her way up, is she somehow was able to walk over some people to get where she was. I believe that probably once she was given the position to essentially have ministry powers. I mean, she was like the minister of magic of Hogwarts. And when Fudge was like, yeah, do whatever you want, she's like, oh, hell yeah. Like, these are my beliefs, and I'm going to push this on everybody, which could be said by a lot of different, not just a person, but schools, and even with politics and things like that. Like, we're going to do and say what we believe strongly, and she's going to fight because she has the arsenal to do it. Like, she has the power, she's able to do it. As cruel or whatever it is, we see that. That's the reason why Umbridge is such a compelling villain, is because she's someone we know. She's someone we see on the news. She's someone that in our real life we see and are terrified that have power to dictate our lives. So in comparison to Voldemort, who's like, yeah, I'm
Betsy
just
DeVos.
evil and I want to kill people because I just, that's just what I feel like, because I'm, I have no emotion whatsoever. So why the heck not kill some muggles? I don't see him as scary. I don't see him as intimidating. But with Umbridge, oh my goodness, there's just so many things that could have made her who she was. So there you go. That's me trying to justify who she is. Not that she is a great person or needs to be empathized with, and she's done some terrible things, but here's something to kind of unpack on. A lot of bullies and really terrible people have something that answers why are they the way they are. There are a ton of reasons that it could be why. Doesn't mean it's okay. It does not mean it's okay by any means, but here's why.
Yeah, and I also feel like, just to quickly build on that, is that she's codified as this really ambitious, power-hungry, ruthless, Machiavellian woman. And the key word there in all of that is woman, because we see those qualities in people like Barty Crouch, who, he's guilty of abusing his own family members, and it ultimately leads to terrible things happening. But we don't hold him to the same level of scrutiny as we hold Umbridge. I mean, part of the reason that she is such a hated figure is because she is a Machiavellian woman in power. And I think it's really interesting that she is consistently, I think, in the fan base, seen as more villainous than Voldemort.
Yeah,
even
exactly.
though Voldemort's done much worse
Right, yeah.
things. But it's like you said, it's because she's relatable.
We took this so deep. I mean, everything
Yeah.
from as a political figure, being a woman, this is just, amazing conversation, but it's just funny that it's within the realm of this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, we decided very early on that we were going to be as educational as we were funny. And I think
Yeah.
as time has gone on, that dynamic has shifted slightly. Where,
Yes.
I still think we have very salient points, actually. I just
Yeah.
think that I feel less compelled to couch what I think inside pretty words because I'm worried it won't land. Because I get our audience now, but when
Yeah.
we were starting off, it was like, I don't know who's going to listen to us, who's going to
Right.
find this interesting. So I was trying to be a little bit more political, I guess. and it works. I still agree with myself.
Yeah, no, me too. I'm like, wow, this is like, it is really great conversation. Like this whole thing, I'm like, wow, this is really deep. And I'm just like, I forgot all about it.
I wasn't expecting us to hit this hard on episode, what is technically episode 2, but like, yeah.
The second take.
Yes, correct. And this is one of the things that fanfic can do so well, and one of the reasons, like, I think we both love it so much, is that it can put the spotlight on these characters and make you look again and go, oh wait, these preconceptions I had about them, based on looking at their life from this angle, I've arrived at a completely new conclusion. That isn't to say, like you say, that they're completely redeemed or that it changes who they are, but it does allow you to see their story from an entirely new perspective. And that's one of the reasons I love to play in the world so much. Absolutely. And read so much.
And of course, that gets into like the angsty side of things, which not everybody is into. Obviously, like we get into that and we love that. But then there's the fluffy side of things. People just love to read about love.
Absolutely.
And they want to take characters that they love and put them together.
Absolutely. I'm saying absolutely a lot too, and I don't know if it's because I'm mirroring you.
Yeah, I feel like you may be mirroring me a little bit.
I'll be like absolutely, and you're like absolutely. And another thing that I say a lot, and I've noticed this with editing, is from the get-go is something that like. That's something I say all the time.
They just want people to be happy, have that meet cute moment, or that positive environment, or that like domestic post-war situation of like so-and-so got married and had kids and it's wonderful. Or in school when you have that crush on somebody and it's like slowly developing and it's kind of awkward, and when it kind of resolves itself, you're just like, oh my gosh, this is just so beautiful. And people often need that. They need that like lighthearted, uplifting, something to make them feel good, because we don't always, feel the best. We don't always want to get down into angst. A lot of people can't. They don't want to do that. It makes them feel anti what they want to feel. So there's a lot of beautiful, like fluffy stuff out there that just, it's just like, it's so cute. It's I love it.
Yeah, and I think part of the needing that space to have the fluff and have the resolution that we don't get in the books is also catharsis for the reader and the writer.
Catharsis! There it is. This is the first time you used it. I had no idea what this word meant, and I had to look it up. I talk about this, I was like, this is the word I had to look up. And now I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. That's my identity. How did I not know what this word was?
But that's why I was sure you knew what it meant, because I was like, well, you've referenced doing, fan fiction, doing this before, so you must know that you're embodying it, right? You are the spirit of catharsis.
And I'm like, yeah.
And the whole community, because life isn't always fantastic. It isn't always all smiles and sunshine
and glitter
and streamers
and
or whatever
ribbons.
it was that we said. Glitter. But to know that you're going to get that from a fic, that you can sit down and read it, and it's just going to gratify some part of you that needs a conclusion or a release or excuse
I was
you
drinking,
as you like properly choke as I say the word release. Release. It needs a release,
children.
Mags. The equivalent of a big warm hug.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is what fan fiction can do. Dumbledore says at one stage, words are, in my not so humble opinion, our most inexhaustible source of magic. And I really feel,
Lord. Oh my gosh.
and I really feel that like fan fiction for us is an extension of that philosophy. I don't know that there's one ship that I think, oh yeah, that's fluff.
Yeah,
Although
I don't
it might be that there is one, but nothing comes to mind.
We don't know yet.
Yeah, it's like you can make anything fluffy if you really want it to. You could make a Snape ship fluffy because you can have him suddenly open up. You could, and let the wall down, and then suddenly all this potential for actual human connection comes through. Although I still think it would be really creepy to see Snape smile.
I don't know. He's definitely more of like kind of like Draco. They're like the sneer, the like quirked corner of the mouth, that little something that might.
I mean, we talked about early on, we're like, I don't know what it's going to be like me talking about Snape and what. Still think it would be creepy if I saw him smile.
I think I've got a point, because is there a visualization for Snape smiling that you can see without his lip curling?
Right. No, I think it would come down to, like, usually it's like a sneer or a smirk, but then and depending on the intent, like obviously his eyes are more telling than like his smile would be telling. Like you could tell that something is like he's being smug or evil versus like when he's actually like amused or actually feeling soft. It would all be in the eyes. It wouldn't be in the smile. Like I couldn't see him like full on teeth smiling, like, but he would like do like a little smile and his eyes would tell you really what he was feeling.
What if he's one of the Weasley brothers one day is just like in class and fires off a little spell just surreptitiously at Snape, and he's like quasi-cursed to smile all day?
Smile like with his mouth like wide, and he literally cannot, like he's literally trapped in a smile, and he's trying to be like, he's trying to be serious, like, you better give me the counter curse, and he's just like got this big smile on his face, and he's furious, but he looks like it just looks hilarious because people can't take him seriously.
I now need the spin-off of Liar Liar with Snape being like Smiler.
Show a little bit of amusement. Maybe the amusement is in their eyes.
Yeah.
Like, you read, it's like something with amusement. And you're just like, what does that even look like? Like, what happens to the eyeballs that makes someone look amused? That's another funny thing in fic, is how things are described to us. Like, I think
the exact same
I'm
thing.
sorry. I'm gone.
Oh my god. I am just, oh gosh, my gut hurts so much. I just love that I literally said exactly what I said.
I agree with both of you.
Oh my goodness.
Like, what does that even look like? Like, what happens to the eyeballs that makes someone look amused? That's another funny thing in fic, is how things are described to us. Like, I think one thing that you said to me once was that you're like, I have yet to be at the point where I've ever thought, yes, it's time for the deepening of the kiss. Because we read it so much, and I write it. I mean, you're just like, oh, they're kissing, and it's like, oh, then they just like, you're already kissing. How does that work?
Yeah, but it's never like, and then the kiss intensified.
Yes.
It's always like, and then a character takes it upon themselves to deepen the kiss. And I'm like, how far down someone's gullet are they going? Like, this is just so anatomically impossible.
It's just so funny, the things you see over and over again. You read it so much, so then it's everywhere. I write things that I know I've seen everywhere because it just, especially if they're focused on specific characters and you kind of like blend it into who that character is, and it's like, oh yeah, they would deepen the kiss or something like that.
Yeah.
And you're just like, or just like the moment, like the situation of like, now we're getting into smut. Like, is it really like an aggressive sort of thing, or is it really like kind and slow and like really loving or whatever? And it's just, there's those things to describe to get us emotionally into something, even if it doesn't make sense.
But it's like that thing that you always see in fanfic, like they let out a breath they didn't know they were holding.
Oh, so good. Do you know how many times I have actively avoided using that? I mean, it's like, it's just one of those things that it's like, oh, like sucked in a breath is kind of my like, oh, and let out a breath. a breath they didn't know they were holding. I get why people use it, but it's known as that thing that's put into all of these fic, and when you read it, you're just like, where's Waldo? There it is.
Yeah.
I found it. I found it. So that's just, it's so funny. And it shows how close knit the fanfic community is, because we're obviously all reading and writing the same things. So everything's bleeding into each other because we're invested in all of that. So it's not like some people are. They're just like, I'm just going to write and don't read anything. And then they're only pulling from what they see or feel. But for the most part, we're inspired by others. And it's
well,
amazing.
absolutely. And I think part of what makes fan fiction great is the fact that this isn't a static world. Canon text is finished, that we know of. There have been no announcements yet that more is being written. So canon is finished,
right.
that we know of. But because like I said, the characters are there, and because we're all sort of pulling these ideas from each other and these ways of, engaging and talking about the ships that we know and love, it's this constantly evolving thing of, if someone has a great turn of phrase, it could completely influence the way we all interpret that. And that, to me, is it's not only, cool, it's powerful as well. Because it has, you can influence so many people and not even know it. And that sounds really cheesy, but I really believe that.
No. We are touching lives with fan fiction.
but not in a creepy way. We are touching consensually
no.
and only touching minds.
Consensually touching, your hearts, your souls, your minds. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes your loins. It just depends on what you're into, So.
Oh my gosh.
The tentacle of fan fiction is lovingly caressing your loin.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Oh, and something else that I love about this fan fiction community, especially today, is there's a lot of different forums, especially like Discords and things like that you can join and talk and get involved with other people who love what you love and just expand on it and get excited. So you're not alone in it. You're not just someone at home pulling up your AO3 page or writing something and putting it out there for who knows who to read or whatever. You have your family. It's a family. That's what it feels like. It's very positive. It's very supportive. And even though I haven't really physically been in a space with any of my friends regarding the fanfic community, I feel, close, if not closer to them than a lot of my previous in-person friends, because we're all expressing ourselves through words.
Which is amazing because both of us have actually now met people from our community, which is absolutely amazing. So now it has transcended beyond just being online.
Totally.
It's so great because it just shows the depth of those connections that impact the fact that it's we actually genuinely want to know these people in real life. I had a friend come all the way from New Zealand. Fee made it all the way out to see you, which I was so jealous of. One of these days I will get over there and we will do a co-podcast in physical, the same space.
That will be incredible.
I know. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so
we
good.
We could do a live stream in the Discord. By the way, come join our Discord if you're not there already.
Yes.
So we have to get our thoughts out there. Rarely are we seeing expressions other than, times like this when we can see each other. It's we have to get our emotions out in other ways, and so we really dive deep and express ourselves in a safe and supportive way, and it feels so good. I just feel so good. It makes me feel like a part of something that is just so much bigger than me, but I feel important because it's great when people read my stuff, but also you have your favorite authors, and when you come across them in different forums or Discords, and you're just oh my gosh, I am fangirling so much right now because you wrote this thing I love. And they're just I'm just some random person who lives in a basement just writing things. It's we're literally just normal people. It's not seeing, there's the anonymity of it, which is really great too. We can open up and be as close to ourselves as we want or very little. Like, we can do whatever we feel is comfortable, but get just as much out of it. Still get the relationships without having to break that barrier, have it be scary, I guess, for some people.
And it's a way to connect with humans that is really, you know, it's on your own terms. The amount that you do is directly proportional to how much you want to invest. And that really works well because you get out what you want from it. And I feel like with the, you know, the pandemic happening at the moment, you know, where we're all having to renegotiate how we deal with the world and how we, you know, how we have our outlets. And so what this has really done for me is allowed me to still keep that fun, silly, stupid humor going, because it's so I just love taking the piss out of things. And for me, like, I can do my silly McGonagall Mrs. Doubtfire voice and it still feels like there are people that are going to love that.
I completely forgot about that. I forgot about your McGonagall.
How did we forget about that? I mean, sit down, Potter. Have a ginger newt.
I know. It's just been so long. I mean, oh my gosh, I love that.
I love being a part of that. That for me is being true to who I am, and because it's all very well to talk about like who we are as humans,
right,
but like
yes.
I don't really feel human unless I'm being really silly.
Yes, absolutely. So on that note, let's hear some McGonagall.
I'm going to think of something to say now. You'd have thought that I would have had a line prepared, but so there's there's all of the stuff in the books that you don't get in the films, where McGonagall is giving Harry careers advice, and she's all like, "Sit down, Potter, and have a ginger newt." You know, it's all very same thing, same exact line. I have not grown up at all.
I know. We're like, there's small things that we're like, oh, here's how we're drastically different. But for the most part, I'm like, wow, yeah, this is us as people.
Yeah, we're like this now. There's no changing it. No amount of therapy is going to course correct at this point. It's all but it very quickly lapses into Mrs. Doubtfire, because the boundary between it and Mrs. Doubtfire is very close. So there's that line where it's like, oh, it was the run by fruiting. You know, it's the same voice. It's exactly the same voice. You know, I can picture the space where both of those characters merge, and you just get, oh no, dear, I don't need a wand. I need a face.
Hello.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you've got your sugar and your cream all in one there.
Oh my gosh. Oh, and that's another thing I can't wait is once we get into like the ships and things like that, is like our headcanon as far as if there's any like
once we eventually get to the ships.
Yeah, because we got too wrapped up in my ability to do voices.
Celebrity characters or in-life characters that were like, oh yeah, that's that person, and this is who I see when I write or when I'm reading, which is like also really cool because everyone has their perceptions of who they think someone is. Like some people are like, oh yeah, Harry is short, like even though in the movies like Daniel Radcliffe just ended up to be shorter, like that's just what happened. So like in Snarry, people are like, oh yeah, I want to have, you know, Snape be so much taller than Harry because it's cute and whatever, and it just has that whatever dynamic. Or on the reverse, it's like, oh, then Harry makes like someone else feel like less or smaller, and he's more of like the protector sort of thing. And it's just everyone has their own perception and headcanon.
Harry's a short king.
Megs, stop stumbling over the fact that you love size difference. Like, I'm just trying to like
all
talk.
I was thinking. I'm
literally talking around, like trying to be, I don't even know what I was doing as far as it's like, oh, or it could be Harry, you know, over like, you know, someone.
I mean, have you seen the meme, and it's like how to talk to short dudes, and it's like this hand drawn thing, and it's just a hand pushing down on a head.
No. Okay. I got it.
Yeah. That's all I'm picturing right now.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so funny. I mean, yeah, it's like there are ways that it's like, even though, we'll mention things very vaguely and we're not like brave enough
We'll
to
dance
like
around it for a little bit. Yeah, we're neither of us brave enough at this point to go, clearly Harry and Snape are doing it.
Yeah. And I'm into the fact that Harry is smaller and
He's
Snape
a short
is
king.
taller.
Yeah. Harry's the short king and Snape is tall. And one of them, because there's power dynamics there. We don't get into that
Yes.
discussion, but that's what's informing this. I love that.
Right. Well, I know, like that was like whatever dynamic, and I was like power dynamics and size. I'm like, okay. Oh man, laughing at myself. This is
Everyone
so
has their own perception and headcanon for everybody.
Harry/Dobby.
Harry's oh gosh, no! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh no! Oh no! 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 No!
Oh yes. Oh yes. Yes. Yes.
Master has given Dobby a cock.
Oh no! 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 Or yes, I mean Dobby would be.
Maybe not that
Dobby
small.
would be-
That's not as small as you
Yeah,
were.
that's a size kink that I never would have really. Yeah, so it's just it's really cool to see how people perceive these
Sure.
characters and write them.
Nathan's over here making air quotes people.
Like, if you are not watching I don't often recommend going and watching our video releases just because I look like a hot mess in a lot of them. Megs is always stunningly gorgeous and just
Right.
a beautiful human being, and I'm over here looking like a fuzzy hot mess. But I definitely feel like for this one, if you are a patron, go and watch our video recording, because there's a lot of like us quietly talking to each other silently with like air quotes and making looks at each
Yes.
other, and there's another dimension to this. So if you have
Exactly.
enjoyed this, go back and watch that.
Yes.
Especially based on ship. Like, we're gonna dive into different ships of the same characters. So, like, Hermione versus Hermione, or Harry and Ron versus Harry and Neville. And their personalities could be completely different, or their dynamic is different. And
Is this a broken record? I mean, literally, this is exactly what I said earlier on. I'm like, this is just so funny. Like, the fact that I'm like, yep, I literally just said that. Like,
and we feel it, like we believe it, and it feels true to these characters because of the situations they're in. And it's amazing what people can do when you are given a base for it, because I can't imagine really getting into writing from scratch, like, oh my gosh, I have to build a world, oh my gosh, I have to come up with people, like I can't, oh my god, I can't. But I have 20 plus years of knowledge of fake individuals that I can keep writing about. Heck yeah! Like, I mean, it just...
Well, that is a big part of the appeal, and it's not just about how am I going to craft a world that people will engage with. It's like the fact that we've all come into the same world. We all know these characters. We all have the same sort of base elements to draw from, and because of that, when you change one or a few, you can really play about with how that world works. And so you're not starting from scratch, and it isn't your own self-contained universe. It is, in a way, a lot more relatable because you already know the characters, and if you love the story like we do, you're already invested. So you want to know where else you can take it, and because
Wizards
it's fan
in
fiction,
space.
there are all... Oh no. I wondered when that was going to come up. There's a limit, Nathan. You don't know
Yeah.
this yet, but there's like an upper...
I know. We
upper
could talk
ceiling.
about other things. No, reel it back in. Reel it way the hell back in.
Just because you can talk about something doesn't mean you should.
Right.
And some things that I have said on this podcast will never make it to air for the good of the human race. And because it's fan fiction, there are almost a limitless number of combinations that you can pair off. And, and of course, it isn't just about pairings. We could talk about different magic systems and things that people come up with. There are incredible things that people do with the world. But the point is that I'm excited to really dive in and start
I'm also
exploring.
really excited about this and look forward to our next episode, which we're actually going to dive into Harry, Ron, and Hermione first. So the Golden Trio ship, so a multi. So we're really looking forward to doing that. And if you have any recommendations of fics, please send them our way, either to our email, careofmagicalshippers@gmail.com, or send us a tweet at magicalshippod. We'd love to hear why you love it, what we should be reading, and we look forward to diving in with you next time.
Oh my goodness.
So we just didn't have a sign off at all. It was just like,
No, we
I'm
just
excited.
stopped
And then
it.
you went, I said, I'm excited. And then you went, I'm excited. Bye.
Oh, wow. Okay, there's a little bit left. What the heck is at the end of this?
Do you remember the world that we escaped into to get away from your rants when we were younger? Well, guess what? We've expanded the world and now it includes Harry/Snape and Hagrid/his wand.
Oh gosh, does that, it being broken, is that a plus or a negative?
Oh, I think
If
you'd
it's
have
in
to
two
ask
pieces,
Hagrid.
oh no, double
But it's
the
like,
fun.
it's like in the umbrella.
Is it a retractable umbrella? Like, does it get more like nubby? Like, is it like, like, is it like a
I feel
smaller
like
umbrella?
it's like Dumbledore's wand. Where the
Is it
little
it's a
bobble-
bumpy umbrella?
I feel like if it was a bumpy wand, it would have to be a bumpy umbrella. I mean, and it's bumpy by virtue of it being broken anyway.
That's true. Oh gosh, the splinters.
The splinters. See, so we were
the
filthy.
splinters.
We were filthy. We just were editing it out at that point. We were like,
Yes.
we.
Oh gosh, the
like
splinters.
I was questioning that during the episode. I was like, was I always? But no, I was just that filthy. It's just that at the time we were like, no, let's try and keep this a little bit more educational. And then
Yes.
as time has gone on, I was talking with Jeff about, was it Harry having a St. Andrew's cross in his
Yes.
room?
It was like, because it was Percy, right? Was it the
Yeah.
Percy, Flint, and Oliver Wood? So it was like
Yeah.
all of them, and so then one of them had that in their room, and it was like what was it, like the Three Bears. It was like, oh, that's too much, not right, or this, and then we got into Bertie Butt's Every Flavor Loop. That was so good. I love all of Jeff's fics. When they bring those on, it's so much fun. It's just a great time.
We've said some crazy things on this podcast.
Truly. I mean, oh, wow. Well, that was so much fun. I mean, I have to laugh so hard at the amount of stuff that I've just gone into rambling, and then I do it actually in the episode later on, and I'm like, wow, yes, I obviously have my rhetoric, and that is what it is.
I have an opinion and it will not change. Oh no,
Yes.
does this mean we're destined to be conservatives later on? I hope not.
No! No! Oh, gee.
Can you imagine trying to defend being a social conservative and then having aired half of the opinions that we have on this podcast? There will never be a future conservative Nathan. And if there is,
No.
you'll know that I've been replaced by an imposter. Because,
Yes.
they're like, I just want to say for the record, this isn't me bashing conservatives. I'm just saying that, drastic changes in personality, if that were to happen to me overnight, maybe question it. If I start being massively pro-Trump tomorrow, it's okay for you to like send me an email to be like, are you sure this is what you want to be doing? Because I'd
Right.
much rather be talking about St Andrew's crosses in people's bedrooms, apparently.
Yes,
And
exactly.
various, and Harry/Dobby, even though I can't even remember saying that. But that was my voice, and I used my human mouth to do that thing. So it's in the
did.
universe now. There's no taking it back. Although, speaking of not taking back, I think you may have to split this into 2 episodes because we're coming up on 2 hours.
I know. I mean, this will probably just end up being a long one because it'd be really hard to like stop it at any point to, whatever.
Right.
But I expected this to be longer because obviously we're going to stop and talk about an episode regardless of it being only 43 minutes or whatnot. But yeah, this was great. This was so much fun. I'm so glad we decided to do this. We'll have to do another
too.
one of these, like, later on. You had mentioned like the Tamari episode, like taking one of them that's like, whatever one's kind of the most popular, which I think Tamari is way at the top, which doesn't really surprise me. But it would be fun to go back and like look. It's like, oh, these are the most popular ones, and what the hell did we talk about, sort of thing. So much fun.
Definitely. If you enjoyed this and you want us to do more of these, do let us know. Because we could
Yeah.
maybe, like, even if we don't release these in the main feed, we could do them as bonuses. We could react to our old stuff or react to bits of our old stuff. We wouldn't necessarily need to do a whole episode, particularly when those episodes start to be like an hour and a half.
Yes, exactly. We'll just kind of like randomly be like, okay, from this time to this time. But since we've ran pretty long, we should probably wrap it up.
Sure.
But
Bye.
once again, I can't, but yeah, bye. Or we don't even say that. It was just like, yeah, I'm excited too.
There was no outro whatsoever.
Oh gosh, we've stumbled through every closing in the future forever.
Yeah,
but
we've just never done it. But do you know why? It's that I love our audience so much, and it's true. Parting is such sweet sorrow. I don't like it. I've
Yes.
never liked goodbyes. Goodbyes always feel final, and I don't like. We always come back to you with more episodes. So saying goodbye
Yes.
would be gaslighting you as well. I don't want to do that. So
until next time.
yeah, see you in the next one. Thank you
Yes.
for 50 episodes. This has been
Yes.
incredible. Here's to another 50 by 2036.
Right.